everything working. So no, you still can't see us yet. Some of us will probably never show our faces on camera other than still shots, which is what you can see of me right now. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet because my studio,
I'll be bringing up my background and I'll be going live.
my studio is not configured for that yet, but I'm working on it. So at some point,
Yeah, no, I still have my lovely monkey print, and maybe I can get a whatever. Maybe I can take our little logo and put it behind me, or at least the brick wall.
That would be pretty awesome.
Actually, I think I have a brick wall. Tell you the truth, I think that's my background.
So anyway, so the good news is we do seem to have everything up and running now. So yeah, I guess because for some reason, didn't we use this setup last week? I thought we did.
We did.
Yeah, because last week
I didn't remember like 10 steps to logging in last week.
Well, I think that's probably because I did something a little bit different and actually pre-scheduled everything to try to make my life easier, so I wasn't scrambling through and having to change titles and everything else. So yeah. Anyway, so that may be part of it, but yeah, there is a free version of this, so if you go in and set up your own account, it'll probably make things a little bit easier.
Cool.
All right. So anyway, so we're here, we're live, and it's Whatever, which is the show for Gen X by Gen X, and we talk about whatever the hell's pissing us off at the moment. And since we're old, it can change moment by moment. Oh wait, did I say that out loud? My bad.
Well, I can't go back on X tonight.
Why not? What'd you do?
Flickr retweeted me.
Oh, well, you know.
Well, my mentions are done.
Somewhere along the way, that asshole unfollowed me, and I can't get him to follow me back. I don't know what I did. But
what?
Yeah, I don't know. We got in.
If he unfollowed me, I'd just tell his wife.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of an in. I kind of wish I did because I don't know when he unfollowed me. Z,
Yeah.
nobody asked you for your opinion. Anyway. All right. So what do you want to talk about tonight? I did this for 2 hours already today.
Oh my God. I think we have to talk about mutually assured destruction.
Yes.
There is no other out at this point. You know, being the bigger person
doesn't work.
Is not a winning strategy at this point.
Well, it doesn't work anyway. We've been trying that for a decade now. It doesn't work.
Exactly. And anybody who's sitting here thinking, oh, this is just a Trump phenomenon, and if it wasn't Trump, this wouldn't be happening, blah, blah, blah. Wrong. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a story back when the primary was still going on. And Ron DeSantis had flown a bunch of migrants out of the state of Florida. And Gavin Newsom was looking at kidnapping charges. If you think they would not have moved forward with those in the state of California, if DeSantis had been the nominee, you're insane. As long as we allow them to do this, we allowed them to do it to Steve Bannon. We allowed them to do it to Peter Navarro. We allowed them to do it to any number of people on January 6th. Now they're jailing 70-year-old women who were protesting at an abortion clinic and putting them in jail for 2 years. We keep we allowed them to have a memo that said they were going to start infiltrating traditional Catholic churches. Who says they haven't? Right? We aware of a memo that was targeting people like Moms for Liberty. And we don't do anything. These people don't get kicked out of their jobs. They don't get impeached. That nothing happens to them. So they just keep taking it to the next level and the next level and the next level. And I'm sorry, I don't even like Steve Bannon. I appreciate the work he did on COVID. I appreciate him giving Naomi Wolf a platform. I appreciate him funding the work that she and her group have done to look at all the Pfizer documents and figure out exactly what they knew and when they knew it. But I don't like Steve Bannon as a person, and I don't agree with him on a lot of things. But when he's saying that Trump needs an attorney general who's going to start prosecuting people like Alvin Bragg, I agree 100%.
I mean, it's the only way
fat Albert-looking motherfucker slugging a milkshake needs to pay a price. I'm sorry.
See, I wish I'd have known you were gonna unload on the Fat Albert thing, and I had some sound effects ready to go. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. I didn't know, but now I know what to start getting
You know,
ready.
I'm trying not to swear. I really am, but they're making it impossible for me.
We play a disclaimer for a reason. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know, but I'm trying to be better than that.
Speaking of which, we actually started the live stream in the video format after we did the disclaimer. So this stream, in case anyone is tuning in through X or Facebook, will contain coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised. All right, now I've covered our asses.
Okay.
All right, so anyway,
Which in my case would be a substantial effort.
whatever.
I'm serious, dude.
Why are women
Things are
always
getting a little much. A little much.
Why are women always so down on their appearance? I don't understand that. Anyway,
Oh, it's just I cannot respond to Alan. This is really bad.
wait, why can't you respond to Alan?
Our good friend too, Cynic Al, might be driving through my town. So he wants to know what town that would be, and my stupid computer is not letting me respond to him. So yeah.
Nice.
This is what is going on in my life.
Oh, computers. Gotta love them, right?
What in the world just happened? I love technology. I do. This is called having way too many browser tabs open.
You should see me right now. I mean, I've got the Spreaker studio up. I've got the streaming studio up. I've got tabs open for stories. I've got X up. I've got the chat room up. At some point, I'm going to have to integrate a second machine into this mess because I've already decided at some point I'm going to start making my son produce the afternoon show because I can't keep up with all the buttons anymore. There's too many moving parts now that I'm trying to integrate all this stuff. And we're not even on Live 365 right now because I'm still trying to figure out how to send them, how to play commercials over there without them having to hear them live. So I have to test the disconnect, reconnect timeframes, and I haven't done that yet. I did stream my show over there today, but I'm trying to get it sorted so when we're live, when we go on breaks, we can still sort of be muted. The downside is on the stream side, like the restream side, they're going to hear us regardless. But I don't really want the radio side hearing us as much because there's no way to really shut that off unless we just kill the feed and bring it back, and that's a pain in the ass. So because I'm not going to kill the video feed every time we go on a break, that would suck. But I've been listening to some other folks that have been doing things like this for longer than me, and everybody just lets it fly on the breaks on the video side. So I guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, the whole thing, like even now, Congress has all of a sudden decided that they're going to try to bring charges against James and Hunter Biden, and I'm like, where was this shit 6 months ago? How long have we known about these things? Why is it that the closer we get to an election, all of a sudden you guys are going to try to act like you're trying to do something?
I don't think they actually believed that Trump was going to be found guilty. I think the true problem is we still have too many Pollyannas. They don't really see that this is going to go the way it's obviously going to go.
I mean, in a sane world where we weren't basically being led by the Joker, and if you've seen the weird ass smile he gave a few days ago, you know why I now call him that. Then it wouldn't have happened. But the simple fact of the matter is that there was nothing there there was nothing there in that trial. It became a rehash of something that even Stormy Daniels at the time said was not a Me Too thing, and then all of a sudden she decided to up jump and into a Me Too thing because she was trying. I still think in some ways she's trying to get out of having to pay him the money that she owes him. So she just keeps coming after him over and over and over again. But the thing that pisses me off about all of this is nobody wanted to touch this case until somebody left the DA's office in that county and basically wrote a book that trash talked Alvin Bragg, and then all of a sudden Alvin Bragg figured out how to get it done. The feds didn't want to touch it. The FEC didn't want to touch it. Nobody wanted to touch it. And then Alvin Bragg said, fuck it, I'm going to do it. After he originally said no. Even he didn't want to do it at first. But when you, and here's the thing, I get it. Everybody's
well,
like,
here's the other thing I want to understand.
Mm-hmm.
How did Trump's lawyers let two liberal lawyers onto the jury?
I got nothing.
Like, how did that happen?
I mean, I got nothing. My assumption is that they only probably had so many strikes they could use, and maybe they already used them. I don't really know. I didn't.
I mean, come on. Supposedly, I mean, it should have been a hung jury. Supposedly, one person on there said they got all their news from Truth Social and Twitter. That person should have said, no, I don't think so. That should have happened. It just takes one.
Well, I mean, I also think that some of the judge's instructions may have precluded the ability for it to just take one, because apparently there were some weird instructions that he gave to the jury about, even if not all of you agree on one thing, if you each agree on something, we can still get there. And I'm like, that's not supposed to be a thing. If that's true, that's not supposed to be a thing. But that's not even my biggest problem with all of this. We are now living in a country where a former president of the United States was charged with 34 separate crimes that were considered expired misdemeanors until they were bootstrapped into some form of felony that falls under some sort of federal guideline, which means he shouldn't have been able to prosecute it in the first place. And the scariest thing about all of this is apparently the only people that know what that underlying felony is Bragg, the judge, and at some point apparently the jury was informed. That means the defendant had no idea what his primary charge was. Therefore, he had no way to technically face his accusers because he didn't even really know what he was being accused of, which is a direct violation of the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution. This should have never gone the way that it did, which is why we've reached the Rubicon. I mean, honestly, we crossed it in 2020. Nobody wanted to talk about it because there's no real proof that there was that much cheating, Rick. Yeah, actually there was. When they're showing video footage of truck after truck after truck of ballots showing up in certain jurisdictions, and almost all of them are top of the ticket only, then that's a problem. You don't want to talk about it being a problem? That's fine. We can ignore the fact that there's a problem. But now we can't, because we've gotten to the point where now they have weaponized our entire justice system. And I need everybody, and I've been saying this since the verdict, I don't care what your personal feelings are about Lord Spraytan. I could care less. I need you to understand that if they can do this to him, they're going to eventually be able to do it to you. And Joe Biden has set the framework to be able to do that, because everybody that has ever voted for Trump, whether it's once, twice, or now about to be 3 times, is already on a terror watch list. He told us as much.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just so depressing. And then to add insult to injury, and I can't tell what Joe Biden is trying to defend against. Okay. Is it this trial with his son? Is it like the fact that Trump's a felon, you can't elect him now, really isn't resonating? And like $350 million have been raised by Trump and Trump linked organizations for the election since the verdict. Is it because this strategy is obviously falling just flat on its freaking face that now he's coming out with this border thing that means nothing? I mean, does everybody just not know? Does he think everybody doesn't know that he reversed all of Trump's border policies to begin with?
Well, he thinks nobody knows. I mean, that's just like he was able to reverse Trump's policy on insulin for Medicaid, Medicare, and then reinstate it, and then took a victory lap over it. He's still trying to do that. Finally, somebody from Fox News called him out about it the other day, and now they're accusing him of giving false information because Joe Biden did in fact lower the cost of insulin for Medicare and Medicaid subscribers. And I'm like, yeah, he did, but only after he undid Trump doing it first. To hell. I mean, it's no different. Joe Biden broke the border to tell us for 3 years there was nothing wrong with the border, then 3.5 years later say, "Oh, now I'm gonna fix the border. Elect me again." No. Fuck you and no. Just no.
Well, it's like you're going to fix the border until when? And then I see there's a 2,500 a day person cap on it. That's like more people than are crossing the border in a day to begin with. Like it's nothing.
Well, did you really expect it to be anything meaningful? This is nothing but a band-aid on an artery wound, hoping that he can get drug across the finish line in November. That's all this is. They have managed to get the first verdict in soon enough that they're hoping that by November nobody's as pissed off as they are today. And unfortunately, they may be right because we're still 5 months away from an election. In an election, 5 months is an eternity. A lot of people may have lost the head of steam that they have before then. I certainly hope not, because we officially live in a banana republic now. You can tell me I'm wrong. You can tell me I'm full of crap. You can say whatever you want to say. But when you have a sitting president going after his top political rival and orchestrating everything that we now see that they have orchestrated to try to put him in jail and may have successfully managed to do it, we still don't even know that yet, then that makes us a banana republic. These are the things that we used to invade countries to get rid of. The United States would be invading the United States today to overthrow the government and reinstill freedom if we were still the country that we used to be. That's the part that I can't make people understand. Our founding fathers would have already gone to war over the shit that our government has put us through in the last decade alone. Never mind when they passed the Patriot Act because, we're going to keep everybody safe because we're going to do all this. And then it wound up being the primary excuse to spy on Americans. It created an entire branch of the CIA that does domestic surveillance now. That's insane. They didn't even have any. They didn't have anything like that in their charter. That's why the FBI was supposedly created, was as the top federal law enforcement division. Then the Patriot Act created the whole, domestic protection part of the CIA. And then all of a sudden, as long as they're supposedly with that particular division, they can do whatever they need to do on U.S. soil. That is when things started going to crap. That is when, as we now know, in 2015, the CIA and the FBI colluded to try to derail the campaign because at some point Donald Trump stopped following the marching orders and got in it to win it. Because you still cannot convince me that he wasn't supposed to take it on the chin when it was Bill Clinton who called him and said, "Hey, you should run against my wife." There's no other universe where that makes sense, unless he was supposed to take it on the chin. And I remember, because we were there, watching him on the big screen at CPAC talking about how, as president, he could order the military to go kick in doors in all the places that we were at war at the time, and they would have to do it because he was the commander in chief. And I remember, almost to a person, everyone in that room just gasping. Those are things that you don't say when you're seriously trying to win. But something changed. I remember being terrified of him when he said that while I'm sitting at CPAC. I was like, I have never in my life thought I would hear somebody running for president basically pull Mojo Jojo. You will do these things that I have told you to do because I have told you to do them because I am Mojo Jojo. Mwahaha. A presidential candidate LARPing Mojo Jojo on a debate stage? I never thought I would see that. I did not have that on my 2016 bingo card. Did not. Did I lose you again?
No, I'm here.
Okay, just making sure, because last time you kind of dropped out on me and I didn't know, because I could still hear you, but you couldn't hear me. So
No. Restream was making me connect my channels to get rid of a notification, and so now all of my channels are connected. So apparently, when we go live, I'm going to be streaming on my own TL if I want to. So that's just bizarre.
Oh yeah, I can turn that off as a setting if you don't want to do it, but it's just a way to push the reach further.
Oh no, that's fine. I just don't want to do it today, so I turned it off. Today is not the day.
Today is not the day. But yeah, I always have that setting turned on so that if anybody wants to push to other accounts, they can. At some point, I'm actually going to probably set it up to where the main computer has has this stuff on it, and then I'm actually logged in separately because then I can stream to the station X and my X at the same time without it taking up a slot. So these are the things that I've been working on for the last week while I've been seriously trying to figure out what all this software can do. So yay, fun times. Anyway, people don't tune in to hear us talk about the shop talk anyway. So. Oh boy, I didn't see this earlier.
What?
So apparently, according to the Blaze, during the Hunter Biden trial, X's testified to his drug habits. FBI agent, former gun shop employee weighs in as well. That's from Courtney Wheel.
Oh yeah, no, his ex-girlfriend, who also happens to be his dead brother's wife.
Hang on. Before you go any further, this is now contractually required.
Giggity, let's have sex.
Just saying. Okay, now you can keep going.
Can you, like... So the other thing I've been hearing about the trial, which just cracks me up, is that Jill Biden is there sitting directly behind the stepson that hates her. Like according to the text messages we have all seen at this point, he thinks she's stupid and awful. Like what kind of deep-seated hatred must you have for your father and stepmother to not only leave your disgusting laptop where somebody's clearly going to find it? And Ashley Biden's no different. She dropped that diary. She knew what was in it. She never went back to retrieve it, right? These are people trying to tell you how awful Joe Biden and Jill Biden actually are. Okay? They're adults. They're in their 50s. All right? These are not children. They don't do things by accident. They might do them subliminally while on drugs, but when they sober up, they should say, holy shit, I better fix that, right?
You would think.
Imagine your father's going to run for president and you start stuffing his favorite child's wife. Because Bo was clearly the favorite child. Because I'm telling you right now, if you go back and watch the remote DNC, Hunter Biden and Ashley Biden literally introduced their dead brother who spoke for 25 minutes.
I remember that was like the creepiest 25 minutes of my life.
That was the creepiest 25 minutes I have ever seen.
Yeah,
like Hunter Biden is telling you his father is a piece of shit. Ashley Biden is telling you her father is a piece of shit. Why will America not listen to them?
Because he's America's grandpa, Stacey.
No, he's not. He's America's pervy uncle.
Yeah, tomato, potato. I'm just saying.
Really?
No, I get it. I really do. I just, I mean.
Oh, my God.
Uh-oh, what now?
Mexico reports first human-to-human transmission of H5N2 bird flu strain. First human death from H5N2. First of all, it's H5N1, people.
Now there's a new strain or something, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. No.
Because they've been messing around with it at the University of Wisconsin since 2012. I wonder if Dr. Fauci was the bird flu research that went on at the University of Wisconsin and one university in Europe was the one that caused all the kerfuffle that caused the Obama administration to shut it all down. Okay? So they were doing this research at the veterinary school at the University of Wisconsin where they do large animal veterinary studies like cows and shit. So they had this bird flu that they were screwing with, and they actually got it to infect ferrets because prior to them fucking around with it, it couldn't get into the nasal passages and respiratory cells of mammals, of which humans are one. Okay? They messed with it, and the papers are out there, so that it could infect ferrets. And then got really upset in 2018 when it infected minks, because they're not really close to ferrets. And they're like, oh, this could easily jump to humans. Yeah, because you fucked with it. These people think they're God, and it needs to stop. Nobody is going to find a virus and develop a cure for it before it gets released into the public. And we didn't make anybody pay for what happened with COVID-19, and they are gonna fucking do it again. I heard Deborah Burks today. We should be testing every cow every week. We have the PCR technology to do it. Do a PCR test, put enough amplification cycles on it, and you can find anything you want to find. At this point, I don't even believe they've found it in cows. I believe they're making it up. I believe they're turning those amplification cycles up to about 50. And that's what the inventor of the technology said. Turn it up. You can find anything you want to find.
Oh, they're going to do it on purpose. This is what they're going to use.
They're totally doing it on purpose.
This is what they're going to use to bring back everything they were able to use to seal the 2020 election again. I've been telling them.
No, because the only people that are going to buy into it, they didn't get the pandemic treaty passed at the WHO, so the WHO can't force this down on anybody. All the red states have basically passed laws that said the WHO edicts, UN edicts, and WEF edicts do not apply in this state, okay? Because we do still have state sovereignty. And the only people that are going to shut it down are deep blue states like California and New York, because everybody else is going to look around and go, no. Florida's going to say no. Georgia's going to say no. Texas is going to say no. Iowa's going to say no. Nebraska's going to say no. South Dakota's going to say no. We're not doing this again. I mean, it's a stupid strategy, and they're going to kill people on purpose. But they've got a new mRNA vaccine all ready to go. Fuck you. Not taking it. Not taking it. Not taking it.
As much as I would love to say that I hope you're right, people are sheep. We haven't learned anything. If we did, Fauci would already be in jail.
All I'm saying is Georgia opened in April and never looked back. Florida opened and never looked back. All of these states have said, we're not doing this again.
I'll believe it when they finally put their money where their mouth is all I'm saying. I'm still saying the powers that be are going to try to use this to close this.
You know, I see people, even in my red town, still walking around with masks. When they come into the hospital, when they go in here, they're still wearing a mask. I just want to rip that damn thing off their face. But you know what? If you feel better wearing that face diaper, then by all means wear it. You know what I'm never wearing? A face diaper.
No facial depends for you? Come on now.
No.
Oh.
No. Not doing it. Not getting a vaccine. None of it. And thank God I can just flip the Jesus card in the state I live in, and I don't have to get one.
Yeah, they tried to not let me do that. That's one of the reasons why.
As long as you find God in Georgia, they can't ask you how close you and God actually are. So, yeah. They can't ask you what religion is it. Like they can't ask you nothing. Nothing.
I identify as a Pastafarian.
And they can't ask you to take the vaccine until you've already gotten the job.
Oh, nice.
So it's pretty cool. But yeah, all of these people, and you could hear Dr. Fauci this week. You could hear him this week. Oh no, everything we did was right. There was a period of time when it was absolutely the right thing to do. You know what? It's going to be the absolute right thing to do. This time, of course, it's going to be in November. No. Not
only no, but hell no.
Not only no, but hell no.
But
And we all know that even if they shut down the country, if Donald Trump wins in November, the left would be entitled to go out and riot in the streets in any case. So, because it would be protesting racism or something.
It's all about the racism, man.
Oh my God, I guess Ibram X. Kendi's having a hard time.
What happened?
He lost all his funding at Boston, and he had to fire all the people that worked for him, and he had all this funding to do some research, and no research was ever turned in. It's like everybody just figured out he was a grifter. You don't hear about Robin DiAngelo anymore either. Just kind of crazy, isn't it? We all had to read that book. I read that book. It was the dumbest thing I ever read. Her book, White Fragility.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
You know, Robin, just because you're a racist and you feel this way doesn't mean the rest of us are. Like, come on now. Come on. Just because you don't want to hang around with black people doesn't mean everybody wants to not hang around with black people.
Oh, did you hear that one of the original founders of the Black Panthers just endorsed Trump?
No, I didn't, but that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I talked about it this afternoon. Apparently, and he was like, yeah, I knew Donald Trump from when he was in college. He's always been, pro black people. He's donated to the Black Panther Party. He's helped black people in my neighborhood. He's done this, he's done that. And this dude's like 80 something. So he's just reached the point where he's got zero fucks. He's just like, whatever. Y'all can call him whatever you want. I was there when Jesse Jackson gave the dude a medal.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
The
guy had the number, all of these people watched The Apprentice.
Yes. It's just so weird. It's so weird to watch. I mean, and again, and this is something that I tried to get across to everybody, because I know for the longest time, everybody was like, well, if he just dropped out, then they probably wouldn't have done this. No, they were going to do it anyway. You know, when I figured out that they were going to do it anyway, when I figured out that Hillary Clinton was on the White House visitors log almost every single day. You want to know who's orchestrating them taking out Trump at the knees? It's not Obama and it's not Joe. It's her. He stole the White House from her, and she's got to make him pay. And she's going to do whatever she's got to do to make him pay. And the cauliflower in chief isn't self-aware enough to know who's making him do what. He's just standing up and going, oh, just put it in the teleprompter and I'll read it. Just make sure you make the parts that I'm not supposed to read more evident, please. Pause. God, I still can't believe that. That was like the gaffe heard around the world for like a week. Every single news show, even the ones that supposedly like the guy, were like, and I did this. Pause. Like, oh my God. I don't know where we go from here. I wish I had an answer. I wish I knew how we fixed it, short of doing things that nobody's going to want to do, because it's going to take mutually assured destruction. It's what happened. It's what had to happen between the U.S. and the USSR. It's what had to basically happen between Japan and America. I mean, that's the reason we dropped the bomb, because we knew, no matter what the revisionist history people tell you now, oh, we didn't need to do that because their economy was collapsing anyway. Yes, we did, because they lived by the code of the samurai, and they would have sent every last person after us until either they were dead or we were dead. And they proved it when they sent kamikaze pilots time and time and time again that basically just gave up their own life to hurt as many and kill as many Americans as they could. That is why we had to drop the bomb. Don't let the revisionist history people freak you out. Oh, we should have never had to do that. But no, because there comes a time when you realize that two conflicting ideologies cannot occupy the same space. We have communists on American soil now. We have had communists on American soil for a very long time. Communism and capitalism cannot coexist, no matter what everybody tries to tell you. And at some point, these two ideologies are going to clash. And it will be up to whoever has the biggest cojones to decide which side wins. And as long as we're willing to just roll over and be like, well, it doesn't really matter if we lose as long as we lose with honor. Yeah, we've been playing that game for a long time. Where's it gotten us?
So the man that like close to half the country hates and thinks is Hitler is being stripped of his license to conceal carry a gun.
Dun dun dun. Well, I mean, pretty sure if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, there's rules about being a convicted felon and being able to carry a gun.
Yeah, well, one of them is apparently in Florida, and Ron DeSantis just needs to tell the NYPD to fuck off. Like, you're not coming into Florida and taking this man's gun on this bullshit conviction. Sorry.
I mean, one of the things that I've kind of had to come to terms with, especially over the last couple of weeks, is realizing that, Jesse Kelly may have been one of the first people that I ever heard talking about a national divorce, but nobody wants to talk about the fact that we're actually in one right now. Process has already started. It just ain't going to be an amicable, and it's not going to be an amicable divorce.
Well, no, because see, the thing is, you and I don't care what some millennial twit up in Greenwich Village is doing. We just don't care. We don't care what they think. We don't care what kind of life they lead. Like, we just don't care. That same little fuckwit is super concerned that you don't think a man can become a woman.
Well, and I mean,
you must be silenced. Your mind must be changed, and you must come into line with his worldview. That's the difference between the right and the left. Think about the flags, right? You have a yellow one that says, "Don't tread on me," with a coiled up snake, like, get the fuck away from me, right? And then you have forward, where everybody's jumping over the moon together. I mean, we could not be any more different in how we approach freedom and how we approach living and sharing a country with one another. Like, these people, I literally don't want to share a country with them anymore.
Well, so
I don't want to share a country with that hideous judge. I don't want to share a country with Alvin Bragg. I don't want to share a country with this dipshit prosecutor in Atlanta.
Well, unfortunately, for the moment, you're having to share a state with her. So
I think she would probably move because we're going to be below the line. Well, we're bordered by Tennessee and Florida. There's no way we get out of the secession. I'm sorry.
Well, so here's the only point that I would make with all of this, and considering this is officially Pride Month, that's kind of the perfect time to make this point. In the early 2000s, really every single gay person basically just said, we just want to be left alone. So we're just like, okay, fine, we will leave you alone. Now, all of the vocal gay, trans, alphabet Nazi types are like, not only do we not want to be left alone, you will accept us, you will like us, you will idolize us, and you will make everything about us. That's a big shift in 24 years. I'm just saying. And it's not good. I know. At this point, it's kind of like, for me, the left and the left. Like, there's the lowercase left, which are just people that we don't necessarily agree with the same ideologies, but they haven't jumped the shark yet. Then you've got the uppercase left. The same thing with gays now. You've got the lowercase gays, which are just like, look, I love who I love. I just want to be left alone and have you guys not judge me for loving who I love, as long as it's two adults and not doing anything wrong. And then you've got the uppercase gays, which are the ones that are in all the parades and all the crazy shit and the blah, 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 blah. And now that entire movement's been co-opted by so many letters you can't even keep up anymore. I mean, I know people that were part of the original LGB that are like, we just want to drop the rest of the letters. Can we drop the rest of the letters? Can we? Can that be a thing? Can we just go back to LGB? Can we? Because these people are nuts. The thing about it is, it's going to have to come to this. We are going to have to decide what we believe in, where our red lines are, and decide we're not going to go any further with them. And this is something that I've been trying to tell people for 16 years because I told everybody, and everybody, including the liberal co-host that I had at the time, when gay marriage became a thing that was okay. I'm like, that's, you guys don't understand what you're doing, but fine. Human nature pushes envelopes. That's what human nature does. It's what it does all the time. Eventually, those pushes get worse and worse and worse and worse, which is why you have songs like WAP now, when in the 60s, it was a big deal to say love in your tummy. Same thing is happening with the gay movement. Same thing is happening with the transgender movement, because it's all about notice me, notice me, notice me, notice me, notice me. Unfortunately, social media has not helped that because it is fueling a rampant narcissism in this country. I think I put Stacey to sleep.
No, you didn't. I'm just thinking.
Anyway. All right, so we kind of missed the break. We got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, we did. I'm just like so pissed.
So where you want to go for the last 10 minutes?
I'm still just sitting here like they're taking his gun.
Well, I mean, did you expect them not to? They're coming after a Secret Service protection next.
How can they do that?
Because a felon shouldn't have Secret Service protection.
Oh, that's nonsense. First of all, it's going to go to an appeal. You can't do that. You can't do that until that entire process is done. You can't even say that. Okay, New York appellate court overturned Harvey Weinstein's conviction. Like, once you get beyond Manhattan, New York is not completely insane, and most judges don't like being overturned by higher courts. The one in Manhattan doesn't care. He got his book deal, and he got his cred with the Manhattan Democratic Party. But once you go above that, most judges really don't like being overturned. And there are so many contestable errors in this case from day one that once it leaves the state system and goes to the federal system, there's no chance in hell it's not going to be overturned.
I am still waiting.
The gag order alone.
Well, the fact that the gag order is still in place astounds me. Dude has been found guilty. He has been, sentenced. Well, I guess not sentenced yet, but he's been found guilty. So why the hell is there still a gag order? That doesn't even make any sense to me. Even if it was a standard situation, normally the gag orders are done once the trial is over. That's because that's pretty much it. But this one, I mean, he even came out day of and said, "I can't tell you everything that I want to say because the judge still says I'm under a gag order." Like, you're not even on trial anymore. How the hell are you still under a gag order? This is some of the stupid.
Well, I mean, to some degree, thank God that Alan Dershowitz was there and is actually running his mouth. What I don't understand in this country is there are people on both sides, okay, who will at personal cost tell the truth, right? So, I mean, you have the guy with the blaze who's literally going to jail because he's telling the truth about what he's finding on the videos of January 6th.
Yep.
Okay, there's people on both sides who will tell the truth despite the personal cost. Alan Dershowitz is one of them. Jonathan Turley is one of them. Glenn Greenwald is one of them. Right? Why doesn't America understand that when somebody has something to lose and still tells the truth anyway, they're probably someone we should listen to?
Well, because that would be too easy, Stacey.
But I mean, it just like screams the insanity this country is actually in.
It's kind of nuts, ain't it?
Well, it goes back to the pandemic. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Scott Atlas, all of these, Dr. Martin Kulldorff, John Ioannidis, all of these people could only lose things by going against the grain, and people still didn't listen to them. Like they were world renowned in their professions and had nothing and only had things to lose. And people were still not smart enough to listen to what they had to say. I don't get it. I always look for the person who's saying something for which they can only pay a price because there is no other motivation for doing that other than telling the truth.
No, I mean, but that's just it. And this is something else that I've talked about a lot lately. There is really no such thing as the truth anymore because everyone has their own version of the truth, which has made everything an opinion. So nobody really cares about the truth anymore, except for those of us that are old enough to remember that there actually used to be a thing called the truth, not your truth. That's why nobody cares anymore because
Well,
it's not.
I think there's like this gap in like Zennials and millennials where like my truth became a thing. I think Gen Z and Gen Alpha are like, no. No, there's actually a truth.
Well, no, and you know that I know that because we grew up in a time when the truth still mattered. But as soon as somebody decided to change the truth to your truth, it changed everything. It changed the entire paradigm because then we started elevating opinion above anything else and made it its own personal. It made it its own personal version of the truth, and that's part of the reason why things are as broken as they are right now.
I think everybody needs a little more Jesus.
Everybody needs a lot more Jesus. Let's just be honest.
I'd be happy with a little more Jesus.
I mean, I'd be happy with a little more Jesus too, if I'm being completely truthful. But as things are right now, everybody needs a lot more Jesus because.
Well, and if you look at it, younger people who are returning to religion are all going traditional Catholic and Orthodox Jew. They're not going to the places that play the folk music and say, God loves you just the way you are. That didn't go so well for the Protestants or for the Catholics.
No, I mean, that's just like, where was it? Wasn't the Presbyterians? Which one was it? I think it was
the boomers turning it into hippie church was a big mistake. You're not going to go to church if you're just going to be told everything's okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's just it. Everything isn't okay.
Nothing's okay. Well, the bagels I made are actually pretty good, but other than that, nothing's okay.
All right, so why don't you, since we are just about to end of the show, why don't you remind folks where it is that they can find you?
You can find me at Scott's Fire on Twitter. Probably will just log off for the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Colonel.
Thanks, Colonel.
By the way, next time you talk to that asshole, ask him why the fuck he unfollowed me, bastard.
I don't really talk to him, but I can talk to Arena.
Be like,
Arena and I chat on Facebook.
What did Rick do to piss him off? Rick's curious.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows?
I think he may have unfollowed me around the same time that he unfollowed Dan because he wasn't happy that Dan was not pro-Trump. So I may have lost his follow way back then and just not realized that. I don't know. Anyway.
See, I was not pro-Trump and he didn't unfollow me.
Yeah, well, you're a chick. Rules are different for you.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't vocally like not for Trump either, and I certainly came around right after the election. It's like, well, that's over. Never Trump is over. We gotta call balls and strikes, and that all went much better than I would have thought.
Yeah, and until they orchestrated a plague, that was fun. Yeah. All right. So
and now they're orchestrating another one. So. Where can they find you, Rick?
Everywhere. You can find me as the producer of the Conservative Curmudgeon Show coming up here in just a little bit, and then producing for FUBAR after that. There will be no Rick and Orty tonight because Orty has to be at work at 4 a.m., so he's going to have to go to bed as soon as him and Sam are done. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon doing the Rick Robinson Show, 3 p.m., 5 p.m. Eastern. Then coming back tomorrow night doing Jen and Rick, 10 p.m. Eastern. Then Friday, same song and dance, except instead of doing Jen and Rick, I'll be hanging out with Aggie on He Said, She Said, still filling in for Mickey, who was on extended hiatus and recently just got married, so he's probably not coming back anytime soon. Anyway, He Said, She Said, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Saturday night, Juxtaposition Live, 10 p.m. Eastern, because we're now going to 2 hours. And then Sunday night, back again doing the America Off the Rail show, at also 10 p.m. Eastern. Then next Monday, I'm off. And then after that, everything starts over again. So we're not going through all that. You can also find me on most social media platforms at RowdyRick73. You can find me as a contributor on Twitchy.com, the executive producer of the Loftus Party podcast, which drops on LoftusParty.com. I'm also an occasional contributor over there, as well as MisfitsPolitics.com. And that's it. And in case you haven't figured it out yet, my name's Rick. I'm a workaholic, and my last meeting was forever ago. But we got to get out of here because G's coming up next. So for those of you hanging out in the chat, F5 in probably about 2 or 3 minutes. On the streams, we'll change over as soon as he's in the room. So see you guys in a minute.
My neighbor's dog did his business on my fresh mowed lawn again. I was trying to get to work on time, but the mailman blocked my drive.